Well, in the history of the world, there's never been more rumors around the next so-called Tesla, or the lower cost Tesla, the $25,000 Tesla. But what you're hearing in recent days, and even in some pictures that are running around or flashing around the internet, is this idea of a sort of a Model Y looking thing that's a smaller version of the Model Y, but it has two doors. Well, there's a novel idea, two doors. So first of all, if you're going to build a smaller model, two doors makes more sense. But I want to go backwards before we go forwards here for a second. I remember as a kid, and that's a long time ago, as we know, I remember as a kid, there were a lot of two-door cars. Many cars, many brands, both here. I was raised in Ireland, right? In Europe, many car companies had two-door cars. In fact, I distinctly remember the four-door versions being offered. The four-door was like the biggest deal in the world. And, you know, if you're my age, you remember getting in the back seat of a of a two-door car. You know, you opened it, whoever was sitting in the front had to open the door, push the seat forward, you know, flap the seat forward, and then you climbed in and you climbed out. Now, what's interesting about this is, back then, worldwide, we had bigger families. There were bigger groups of people. I mean, I remember, I'm from a family of 10. So my older brothers and older sisters had these two-door cars. And if a group of us wanted to go anywhere, it was very normal. And it didn't seem awkward at that time to get in the back of a car, fold up the seat, climb in, and then climb out of a two-door car. So it was very popular. And what's funny is now you're hearing rumors of Tesla making the more affordable Model Y, or the so-called next, $25,000 vehicle being a two-door. And people are like, a two-door? Why would I want a two-door? Well, we have smaller families. In fact, we have a shortage of babies, but that's another video for another time. Our population, the American population, is at its peak actually right now, and it's dropping very rapidly. So we have a shortage of children. We have small families. You know, the average family now is 2 plus 2, right? 2 parents, 2 kids. Well, somebody said the other day 1.5. So I feel bad for the kid that has to be, split in half. Anyway, that's meant to be funny, by the way. So don't attack me in the comments. But the point is, do we really need as many four-door cars as we have in history? I'll tell you what, I have a four-door Model 3 here. And in fact, in my family, we have 3 cars, and they're all four-door. One is an SUV. And if I go into this car or any of those cars, all I see in my backseat is a bunch of crap. There are certainly no humans back there. There are no people back there. So really, building a two-door car today makes more sense than it ever has in the past. So if you take the average Model Y, and first of all, how they manufacture this is they stretch it out, then they remove 2 doors, and then they add, they make just 2 doors, and then they downsize that. That's basically how you construct a car. You make it bigger to make it smaller, and then the smaller version is the finished product. So the Model Y right now is most definitely big enough to be able to do that with. And when you end up with 2 doors, you're actually your net gain is going to be more in the front of the car. In other words, in the driver's seat and the passenger seat, you will probably end up with a net gain of more space there, because technically you really don't need much in the back seat. And frankly, do you even need a back seat at that point? I mean, I could have a 12-foot wide bench back here that would essentially do the same job as a back seat. So I'm not sure I even need a back seat here. So tell me in the comments what you think. I personally think that a two-door version of the Model Y, scaled back down for $25,000. Somebody even said today, I was watching Brighter with Herbert, and he had Jeff Lutz on his show, and these are really smart guys. Jeff Lutz especially is a very smart guy. He's a logistics guy. He's a supply chain guy. He knows what's going on. He knows parts, pieces, and processes. And he basically said the same thing, like, you know, yeah, a two-door version of the Model Y is not absolutely out of the question. And personally, I say take out the back seat. I don't know why you need the back seat. It could be a space back there. It could actually just not have anything back there. Just, you know, an open space, maybe 18 inches wide or 2 feet wide or whatever it is, smaller than, you know, the space you would need a seat. And it could strictly be storage. In fact, maybe the aftermarket guys at that point could build these little systems back there where you could actually store stuff in there. So tell me what you think in the comments.